Humans are amazing creatures. Our bodies were designed to run, jump, throw, but the greatest movement that a human can do to improve strength, coordination, and athleticism is the squat. And I'm gonna show you not only why you should squat, but also all of the different variations that you can use to improve your strength and coordination, and where to start, right? The squat is a multifaceted movement. At its core, the squat involves sitting down and standing up from an everyday vantage point. Or think about lowering your hips with your legs and then getting to a point where you can stand back up like an elevator with your legs. The beauty of the squat, of this specific movement, is there's multiple points of entry. Toddlers, teenagers, grown adults, even the elderly can benefit from doing bodyweight squats. People the world over can sit with depth and stature on their toes, like I am right now, or even by lowering their heels and sinking their hips a little bit deeper. You even see this in nature when you're just checking out apes sit in full depth while they're screwing around. Unloaded, the bodyweight squat is still going to target our quads, our hamstrings, and even our glutes. Unloaded is great, but our goal is to progress into using some sense of weight. And this is where we can start with that first aspect, which would be doing a goblet squat. So we can hold it in this position, get nice and deep, and then drive back up, just like that elevator. Typically, another progression that you might see is doing a front squat, or even potentially an unloaded zombie squat with just the bar. That's gonna be held on the anterior position. Now, over time, the goal would be that we get to where we can hold the bar on a posterior position, typically what we prefer in a high bar position with that upright trunk into that full range of motion, driving up fast. You can high bar back squat with that upright trunk, which is going to stimulate a stronger back, your trunk muscles inside of your abs. It's also gonna help with that full range of motion, which will in turn lead to development in ankle mobility, blowing up those swole quads and also improving that posterior chain strength. The added mobility of the ass to grass back squat, along with that extra DTC work, makes it a phenomenal entry point to increasing your overall strength. And then there's also the low bar back squat. This is going to be a little bit less range of motion. It's going to light up the hamstrings and the glutes, but it does have minimal quad action in comparison to that high bar back squat. It's like a little game genie to piling on more and more load, so that makes it a unique exercise where you can lift a lot more weight. But what else does a squat do for your strength, for your fitness, for your overall power and your athleticism? So I want to tell you a story about John Garhammer. The legend came here to Garage Strength and we sat down and we talked about squatting and all the different aspects of squatting and what it does for your health, for your life, for your strength. And John mentioned that he's back squatted or front squatted in the realm of hundreds of thousands of reps throughout his career. He's in his 70s now and he still catches cleans in the hole. He still back squats as deep as he possibly can because this leads to a strength development even as you're aging. Squatting has many quality of life aspects such as mental fortitude and again, strength as we mentioned. Just think about putting 400 pounds on your back, squatting all the way down, driving all the way back up. That takes a lot of power, a lot of strength, but also a lot of mental fortitude to deal with that uncomfortable feeling on your back. Now, in the realm of athleticism, this is where we can see there's gonna be more power off that line of scrimmage. It's going to lead to your ability to jump higher and rebound, catch that ball at a higher point. It's also gonna help you not get hawked down by somebody. If you're a soccer player, if you're a football player, you're gonna have more speed on that open field. And even looking at it from a health perspective, it's going to improve your mobility. There's a lot of research that shows that doing weighted full range of motion actions can drastically improve that flexibility because now we're doing this in a loaded position. No cap, squatting legitimately makes your other lifts stronger. Want to improve your snatch? Squat more. Want to improve your bench press? Squat more. Want to improve your deadlift? Squat more. Want to improve your clean? Squat more. Want to improve your vertical jump? Squat more. But how many squats are there? There are a multitude of methods of squatting. The movement has an infinite amount of variations. So to name a few exercises, there's the traditional back squat. This is going to be probably the #1 exercise you can do to improve your max strength, to improve your mobility, and to improve that explosive power. There's the front squat. This is gonna drastically increase your dynamic trunk control. It's uncomfortable, but it's phenomenal and has a great transfer to the full clean. The double bounce squat. This is a movement that a lot of you guys haven't done, but this is great for mobility and also blowing up that quad strength. The pause squat. This is another movement. One, I love to do this for people who struggle with having heavy pulls off the floor, but two, to increase overall mobility. The box squat. This is another one that transfers really well to the world of powerlifting, but also to the world of weightlifting and of course to the world of sports performance. Think about a football player. If they do a box squat and they get explosive off of that box, this is gonna transfer really well to that offensive line. The single leg squat. This is another one, probably the #1 best squatting exercise for sports performance and a cheat code to developing that posterior chain. And of course, the banded squat. This is probably one of the easiest movements that you can do, a phenomenal exercise for warming up, but also if you're on the go and you need a quick workout, this is the one that you need to be hitting. And there's a metric ton more that you can find inside of our strength training app, Peak Strength, but we'll talk about that more later. But what's the point of having so many variations? One thing about having a tool shed of variations for this exercise, for the squat, is that we can target specific weaknesses with those variations. Like any good programming methodology, the variation is prescribed to the individual like a surgeon's scalpel based off of their weakness or their own physical needs. For example, you have weak quads or a weak back, use front squats with a double bounce. One more. You're unstable in a unilateral position or you're slow, use the single leg squat. Maybe you have that weak lower back and it's coupled with just terrible mobility. Use that pause back squat. Speaking of remembering, remember how I said squats will help your other lifts? So you have really weak pulls. Use the box squat. Sit gently, drive up fast. Squatting is like a miracle cure for physical ailments, but what does a perfect squat look like? The greatest part of the squat is that it's accessible to all able-bodied individuals. And if you need variations, by all means, you can apply them as well. As I mentioned earlier, our strength training app, Peak Strength, has a reservoir of various different squat exercises that you can use to improve your overall capability. We have over 700 different unique movements that are gonna help you improve your athleticism, your power output, your mobility, and also your overall strength. We want you guys to have direct access to this. All you have to do is head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store, the Apple iOS Store. You can download Peak Strength today. You're gonna get 5 free workouts, and ultimately, you're gonna start working on that squatting strength. And so what does the perfect squat look like? And fortunately, we have Haley Reichert, who has one of the best back squats on the planet to demonstrate what that's gonna look like. Now, notice, you're gonna see her knees track forward and her hips go backwards. It's almost as if there's a rope pulling her forward and pulling her backward from the knees and from the hips. You're gonna see that her knees track out past her toes while her hips sit nice and deep with that upright trunk. That's a key component here. Squeeze through the abs, hold that upright posture, and get full range of motion. This is gonna help with your mobility and your quad strength and strength throughout your glutes. Now, once you have tried a myriad of variations, you can test and figure out where are those weak points, and you can program solve based off of what you've discovered. Over time, build up loading the squat. You can start with your body weight, then you can add a band, you can get to a kettlebell or a dumbbell, and then ideally you'll get to having that barbell on your back. Squatting is going to drastically improve your quality of life, because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.